Hi guys, welcome back. Today is the sixth day since we started our CSS class, and by next week we are going to draw the curtain on our CSS course. So there are some things there are some CSS property that will be introduced to us as we build projects. So we've done quite a number of CSS properties, done quite a number of topics in CSS. We've done selectors such as ID selector, class selector, element or type selector, child selector, descendant selector, multiple group selector, and we've done box model, padding, margin, border, box sizing. We've done background image, gradient. We've done a lot of things, and today we are going to look at few things. We're going to look at pseudo class, pseudo elements. We're going to look at positioning, transform, and we are going to build two projects. So one of the projects is this. We are going to build this animated toggle switch. We are going to build this project. When you toggle on this, can you see it changes color? Can you see this? So we are going to build this, and we are also going to build this background image. We are going to build what we see here, though we might use a different image for our own, but we are going to build something like this. Alright, so with all the knowledge that we are going to get from today's class, that is what we are going to use to build the project I just showed you. So let's go straight to the point. Now I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it week 3 class 3. Yeah, week 3 class 3. Oh, it's supposed to be in CSS folder here. So week 3 class 3. Yeah, good. So here we are going to build a file, create a file, and call it index.html. So apparently I might be doing embedded CSS for all of this. I just have to do embedded CSS for all of this. So first of all, I'm going to start with let me start with the pseudo class. You know, while I was explaining CSS selector to you guys, I told you about different types of selector, told you name or element selector, group selector, ID and class selector, universal selector, and attribute selector, and I also told you about pseudo class selector and pseudo element selector. So there are 8, and there's also adjacent or sibling selector, which we haven't done. So as we continue the course of this training, I'm going to be introducing them to you one after the other. But today I want to show you I want to teach you pseudo class selector. Pseudo class. What exactly is pseudo class? It is a keyword added to a selector that specifies a special state of the selected element. It is used to define a special state of an element. Let us take, for example, you want to hover on a button. You want to hover on a button. When you move your mouse towards that button, you hover on it. You want to be able to do something. A state has been observed, and you want to be able to do something. Probably change the background color of the button, or change the color of the text, or just do something, or just make it move horizontally or vertically, or just make it rotate. So all those states can be, we can use pseudo class selector to be able to do something when those states are what observed. When those states are observed, like over, like checked, like focused. When an element such as input is in a focus state, you can do something with it. You can do something, you can decide to give it a different styling. So all these states we can build, or we can style our HTML elements in their different states. We can start our HTML elements in their different states. So we are going to look at that. So we have a lot of pseudo class selectors. We have a lot of them, and we will not be able to exhaust them here, but you can browse on it so that you can be able to see a lot and a lot of them. So let me just show you few of these pseudo classes. Let me show you a few of these pseudo classes. All right, so here are the list of some of the pseudo selectors. We have link, over, visited, active, focus, checked, enabled, disabled, first child, last child, end child. We even have read only. I think this is it here. Read only, correct. Read only. We also have read and write. So we have a lot of them, a lot of them. Is this read only correct? Or I don't think it's correct, but more on that. Let me check. That. See if it's correct. Okay, input. Okay, read only. So we have so it's like this, read only. We also have required. So can you see, these are states that we can do something. We can do something with all of these states. So almost all HTML element has their own state. Can you see read only, required, write, root, many. So let us look at that one after the other. We are not going to look at everything actually. So let us look at a link that has something like read me or read more. So let us save. Let us open up the live server. So I'm just going to call this pseudo class. Alright, so this is what we have, and let me look for a way to center it. Okay, is it necessary? I'll just zoom on this here. Let me zoom on this. Alright, good. So now this is the initial state of the link, because link has 4 states. It has the link state, it has the visited state, it has the hover state, and it has the active state. it has the active state. So let's say this is the default state of a link. It comes with blue and an underline decoration, but I don't want that. I actually do not want that. So I can come here, I want to do an embedded style. So I come here, I can select the link. I can say, okay, when it is in this state, link, meaning that in its normal state. When it is in its normal state, I actually want to remove the text decoration. I want to remove the text decoration. So the text decoration is that underline that you see there. This underline that you see here, I want to remove it. And to remove the text, to remove this underline, you need what? Text decoration. You have to set the text decoration to be none. So if we save, can you see it has been removed? And I want the color actually to be, let's say I want the color to be pink. Yes, and let's see what we have. So this is it. I want the color to be pink, and this is the, now I've changed the state, because the default state is it comes with a blue color and an underline. So I want to change the state. So, and another one is, let's say for example, if I hover on this now, I want the color to change. So that is also a state that I can observe and I can do something with it. So once I hover on this, I want to be able to change the color of this state. So I can come here, and when pseudo selector or pseudo class selector always have just one double column. Can you see it? One double column. So we're going to do a, then over. I want the color probably to be, let's say pink, but I want a different styling of pink. Okay, let's say purple for instance. Let me use this one there. Yes. Good. So if I save and I come here and I hover on this, can you see? It has changed. It has what? It has changed. Look at it. It has changed. So as I hover on it, the change thing, as I hover on this, I was able to observe the state, meaning that an hover effect has happened on this element. So I want to be able to change the color. You get it now? Then also, I want a link that says visited. So it means that once you have clicked on the link, you want the color probably, or you want to have a background color. Of let me use this one, but I'm just going to change. I'm going to change the yes. Then we also have active. We have active. I'm going to change the color to be, let's say something that is very, very, very conspicuous, that is very obvious. Yes, let me make it green. Let me make it green. So what this simply means is this: I've been able to change the default styling of a link by using this link like this. I can decide to leave it like, I can decide to remove this because it will still work, but let me just add it for explanation's sake. So I can do it like, so this is the first state, this is the default state that I've changed. Then over, of course we have seen it. Then this visited means that once the link has been clicked, clicked, the color will change from this initial color, this pink, to this particular color. Now this active means that the moment I click on it, before it changes color, now the moment I click on it, the link is going to be active before it gets to visited, because before the link moves to visited, there's a split seconds of active state. So this active state is going to be what? Color for this green, and this visited state is going to be what? This color. So let us see it now. Let us observe. This is the default color. When I hover on it, look at what you see. Look at what we have here. So when I click on it, you are going to see something. Can you see? When I clicked on it, it showed me that what? Look at. Can you see it? When I clicked on it, when I click and I hold it down, can you see this color that is showing me? It's showing me that it is active. It is what? It is active. And this is the color that we have here. This green color. So when I click on it and I hold on to my mouse, I hold on to it so that I can be able to, can you see it? You can see that it's active, and this is it here. Then this is the visited state. Now the visited state have this color. It should have a background color now. Okay, let me make this visited state to be. Let me make this visited state to be this. So let's save. Yeah, can you see it now? So if I hover on this, for me, the hover is supposed to work. If I hover on this, I think over should come before visited. I guess so. Let's see. Can you see now? So if I click, can you see? So over should come before visited. Over should come before visited. Sorry, visited should come before over, or over should come after visited. So now can you see this state now? So it shows that this link, it shows that this link has been visited. So let's say, for example, maybe I come here and I do something like click me, for example. I do something like click me and I save. Look at it here. Okay, hold on. This has been clicked already, so let me just remove it. Let me save. So let me do another link. So let me show you something. Hire me. And I save. Let's see what we have. Oh, still visited. So this link has been visited. So I just want to show you something. Let me do another one. Another link. Let's do a search. Oh no, it's not what I want. Or this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to crash. I'm just going to cancel this. I'll come here and open this again. So I can show you from start. Oh, still showing me this. Alright, so let's proceed. So this is it here. I just want to show you that at the initial stage, this was, hold on, I think this should be whichever way. So this is what we have. So the thing is, initially when this link, we saw it when this link was loaded, we have this color pink. Then when we hover on it, we have this color. Then when we click on it, there's this active state. So it shows us this color that it was active, then before it gets to visited. So now this color will never come back to its normal. This link now will never come back to its initial color. It's going to remain in its visited color. That shows that I've been visited. So I cannot be unvisited again. So that's that. And also we can also look at let me use line break, another line break. So we can look at input feed, for example. I don't need all of this. So we can look at input feed, for example. Now this input feed, let's say we are going to have a placeholder. A placeholder, let me save this. A placeholder is something that you put here. A placeholder is something that you pass into your input field, and to give the user an idea of what should be put inside of it. So let's say, for example, I can put a placeholder and say placeholder. I can say search product and brands. Search product and brands. So that's what you are going to see in the placeholder. Let's save that now. Look at search products and what? Brands. Search product and brands. So you can see that this input feed comes with a default what? It comes with a default border. It comes with a default border. So when we click on it, can you see? When we click on it, it shows that. Now when I click on it, you see something like this border here, this black border. This black border is actually called what? Outline. So it means that once this link is in its focus state, meaning that once this link is active, that is what it means. When it is in its focus state, it's just like it is similar to link when it is active. So when this one too is in its focus state, it's going to come with this word outline. But we don't want this outline. Maybe we can give it another thing. Let's say, for example, for this input feed, we can say once this is in its focus state, and focus is a pseudo class. So we can say pseudo, the element name, and what? The pseudo class. So say focus. Can you see it now? So whenever you're using pseudo class element, most of the times you always want to use it with a pseudo class selector. Most of the times you always want to use it with the element name. So input and what? The focus state. And it's okay for the focus state. I want outline actually to be what? None. I want outline to be none, and I want to have the border. The border, I want it to be 2 pixel solid, and I want to give it a nice color like this. So if we save and if I hover on it, can you see? And probably I want to give it a border radius. Let's say a border radius of 5 pixel, and we save. Now look at, can you see it? If I hover on it, can you see it? Can you see it? Goes away, can you see it? So this is a focus state. And also, if you notice that once I click on this focus state, you can see this straight line here that is blinking. This straight line that is blinking, that okay, this person is about to type. You can see the color is black. I can actually change the color. I can say, for me to change the color, I can call the input, the element name, then there's what they call correct. Okay, I think it should be for coming. I've forgotten the name. Oh my. Forgotten that. I will remember. When I remember, I will let you know. So now can you see? So let's say, for example, this input feed by default, it is in a read and write mode state. It's in a read and write state. From what I showed you here, read and write, meaning that you can write something and you can write something and you can read something. So what if I want to change this input feed to only write, to read only, meaning that you cannot write anything there? So I will use what they call a pseudo class, and I'll say read what? Only. I'll say read only. So probably for the read only, I want a background color of I want a background color of purple, this color here. So if we save, you will not see anything. Why? Because by default, this input is in a read and write state. So for me to be able to change it to read only, I'll have to come here and do it manually. But if we started JavaScript now, then we can do it using JavaScript. So I can say type. So I can say read what? Read only. I can just pass read only here. So now look at what we have now. So you cannot type anything. You cannot even type anything at all to this. Can you see? You cannot type anything at all to this. So let's say in this case now, for read only, I want the border to be none. I want the border to be none. I want the outline to be none. You get it now? And I want yeah, I think that's all. So let's see. Can you see? And I want probably the border radius to be none. The border radius to be none. So let's see what we have. Okay, we are still seeing that border radius there. Let me make it 0 pixel. Okay, good. Can you see? It's not like this. So no matter how you click and you are typing it, it will not show anything. So it means that this input is in its what? Read only state. But I don't want that, so I'm just going to remove the read only attribute here. I'm going to remove it. So that's pseudo class for you. That's pseudo class, and there are other pseudo class elements. We have check. We are going to look at check shortly. So we are going to look at first child, last child, end child. That's what we are going to look at now. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to comment all of this, and I'm going to, let's say, select a list, or let's just do a table element. Let's just do a simple table elements, and let's call this tr, then td, let's say serial number, another td, name, then another td will say age. Let's do it like this, and this other one we're going to have td times 3, and here in this case, let's just make this 1. Name should be John, and this one should be like 24. Let's capitalize this. Serial number. So we are going to duplicate this, let's say 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say this one is going to be 2. This one is going to be Julius. Let's make it Kemi, age is 19. This one will be 3. The name will be Precious. This will be 32. 4. So I'm just going to pause this video and populate everything. Alright, here we go. This is all of the things that are populated, so that this is what we have here. So I'm just going to reduce this. To 100. So yeah, I'm just going to do a simple styling, nothing much. I'm just doing table. Let me give table a width of probably a width of 400 pixel. 400 pixel. Let me give table and th, then the td. I'm sure we've done something like this, so shouldn't be surprised. So say border collapse. So we want it to collapse. We don't want to have border there. And if you view this, so this is what we have. And probably let me just center this center this. Let me just say 5%, then auto. Let's see what we have. Good. And let me give the table a background color of this. Good. And also let's say padding 10 pixels on all sides. It's not working. Adding 10 pixels on all sides. Alright, let's proceed. We just remove this. I think I should add it here. Let's see what we have. Alright, good. So for this, I'm going to select this. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to do what do you call it? Text align left. So let's see. Good. And for the T8, sorry, I'm going to do like let me just do a border bottom of 2 pixels solid, and let's look for a nice color that we can use. Let's look for black. Let's do black. So to save. Alright, good. And then I'm going to give it a color for the text. I'm going to give it something like white, and I'm going to give it a font size. Let's say font size of 18 pixels. Let's say. Alright, good. So this is what we have so far. So this is what we have so far. So now let's say, for example, we want to style. We want to come in. Let's say, for example, we want to be able to style this element. We want to be able to style this element separately. So done. Alright, let's say we want to be able to style each of these rows. We want to style each of these rows. Let's say, for example, I want to style the 4th row. Mind you, this is not the first row. The first row, that means the TR, is this one here that is holding the table head. But I want to style this 4th row here. I want to give it a different styling. So what are we going to do? Am I going to now come to this part and be looking for 4th row and give it a class of 4th, and give it a class? Because if I'm to calculate, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'll come here and I'll give it a class. No, with the help of pseudo class selector, we can be able to select the 4th row without giving it a class name. And it is simple. We can just come here and do something like this. TR. Now this is what this is what I want to show you, the end child. So the end child tells you the number of child that you want to select, the position of the child that you want to select, and apparently TR is actually a child of or the TRs, that means the table row in this table element, they are children of this table. So we have a lot of TR, and you want to be able to select just the 4th child, the 4th TR that is inside of the table. So what we are going to do is, instead of giving it a class name, we want to use that end child. So say TR, then end child. Can you see? End child to select. Then what number do you want to select? The 4th child. That's TR, the 4th child. You want to give it what? A background color of what? White. I'll give it a background color of white, and let us see what we have here. Can you see? Background color of what? White. Very simple. Or let me make it DDDD. So it look like ash. Can you see? So what if I want to give I want to make how am I going to put it? I want to make all of these even number. class. Let's say I want to select all the even TR here. Even numbers are numbers that are, when it is divided by 2, will not give you a remainder. So this TR, how many TR do we have? We have like 7 TR. That's table row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want to be able to select the TR that falls under the even number. That falls under what? Even number. So how can we do that? So we can come here. Let me just comment this one. I don't need it. So I can come here. So imagine you want to select even numbers and you are giving it different class name. It's going to be stressful. So we can just say tr dot I think it should be nth child now. So here I'm going to say even, right? I think even. Then I'm going to say background color, the same color. Let's see what we have. Can you see it? Even numbers. So it's going to select all the even TR. Can you see? So TR2, 4, and 6. Can you see it now? Very, very simple. You can also do the same thing too for odd numbers. So you can do it for odd numbers. You can say for odd 2, and do odd. So it's going to select everything. Can you see? Very simple. You can see how life is becoming easy for us. Life is becoming easy for us. So that's that. And what if you just want to select the last child or the first child? You want to select the last child or the first child. There's a pseudo class selector for that, which is called what? First child or last child. So you come here and you do what? First child. You save. First child. And then let's say you want a background color. You want a background color of let me look for a nice background color here. So we save. Can you see? Look at what we have. That's for the first child. What about for the last child? Let's say for the last child, you want a color of this. If you save and you view this, can you see it now? That's for the last child. You can see how pseudo class selector has been able to make our life easy in our web development, in our journey, in our web development career actually. So that is that about pseudo class selector. There are more, but I won't be able to exhaust them in this class. But I'm looking forward to creating a video that entails most of the most important CSS pseudo class selector, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube video for public consumption. So I'm working towards that. Before the end of this week I should be able to do that. So it's going to cover a lot of pseudo class selectors. So aside from that, we also have pseudo element. We also have pseudo element. So this one falls under the category of pseudo class. So we want to look at pseudo element. Pseudo element. So pseudo element, it is used to style special parts of an element. It is used to style special part of an element. It can be used to style the first letter or the first line of an element, and it can also be used to insert content before and after the content of an element. So let us look at that in practicality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me change the title. So it's going to be pseudo class and element. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to comment this. So I'll comment this. So I see I can collapse it and expand it. So you can see all of this arrow here is for collapse. So I'll come to this top level. That's the table. I want to collapse it. Then again, I can comment it from there. So I can comment it. So that's it. So what next? Come in. So let me just. Alright, good. So let's say you have like an H1, or let's say paragraph that says lorem 20, and we save. We view this on the browser. Let's say I style it. I give it a okay. There's no need for me to style. Let me just leave it like this. Or let me increase the letters. Let me increase the sentence actually. Let me make it lorem. Let's say lorem 50 for instance, and I save. Voila, this is what we have. Let me reduce the width so you can have it in. You can have the words break down to the next line. So let's say let me say paragraph. I want to give the width of paragraph to be, let's say 400 pixel, or let's say 500 pixel, and let's see, yeah, 500 pixel. And now in this case, let's say I want the first letter. That's L, to be styled differently. So I can give it a P. Then I do for pseudo elements. For pseudo element, you need two double column. Then you can say something like first letter. And you see first letter. They want to give it the color of this. So if we save, let us see. Can you see the first letter? So I want to make it very conspicuous. So I'm going to give it a font size of let's say, for example, 40 pixel. For practical sake, for practice sake, I'm using for pixel. So in practice, when we are building project, I might be using more of RAM for font size value. Can you see? So there's also what we call the text index. Hope I still remember. Text indent. So you can give it, let's say 30 pixel. So to save, can you see it has been indented? Or let me make it 60 so that can be obvious. Okay, I don't think, is it percentage or what? Text indentation, or it should be first line. I think it should be first line. Let me see, I'm coming. Okay, it's not. I don't know. I've forgotten this. So let's leave it. So, but you can see how we can style this differently. So we can also style the first letter and the first line. You can style the first line also differently. You can style the first line differently. So I'm going to say first line. I'll style it differently. First line. So in this case, I'm going to give it a font size of 30, and then probably a different color for this. Let's save. Now can you see? So let's see if the text indent is going to work for the first line. The text indent is going to work for the first line. So let's say 60 pixel. Not at all. Why? Should be able to work. Is it not working? Minus 999 pixel. See? Wow. Didn't work. Well, I haven't used the text indent before. I can't remember when last I used it. So this is it. So you can see first letter, first line. So this, once you see something like double colon, you see double colon, two double colon, it means that that's a pseudo element. But when you see one colon, one double colon, it means that's what, pseudo class. So aside from that, we also have the before and the after pseudo element, and we also have the placeholder. Let's say, for example, you want to style the placeholder. In this case now, if I uncomment this now, sorry, if I uncomment this one, for instance, if I uncomment this one, and let's see what we have here. So let's say in this case now, I want to style the placeholder. I can come to my input. Where's my input here? Where's my input now? So in this my input here, I can come here and do input. So I want to start the placeholder. I just do placeholder. You can see I want the color to be what? I want the color to be let's say something like this, and let's save and look at what we have. Can you see it? That's it here. So that's that. So we also have the selection. Let's say, for example, if I select this, for example, can you see the color is giving me? It's giving me blue by default. So once I select all of this text, it's going to give me a highlight of a blue color, but I can change the highlight here. I can say whenever a user wants to select a particular portion of a text, I can say I want the selection to have a different background color. So I want the selection to have a background color of this. So let's save and let's do it again. Now watch. Can you see it? Can you see? So this other one is because it has this particular color, so it has to be very different. Or I can also change the color. I can do something else. I can do this particular one here. So if I save, let's see what we have. Can you see it? So beautiful. So that's that. And we also have the pseudo class. So let me just bring it back to the normal, the first one. So then we also have the before and after. So in this case here, it says that it is used to specify, or it is used to style specified part of an element. It can be used to style the first letter, the first line of an element, and it can also be used to insert content before or after the content of an element. So let's say, for example, we want to insert more content, or let me use this, for example, let me use a heading tag now. Let me use heading tag and say web development, and say web development. If I save this now, look at what we have, web development. Let's say, for example, I want to now add an extra or additional content before. So this content, it can be a text, it can be an image, it can be anything. Are you with me? It can be what? Anything. It doesn't have to be what? Words, as in letters. Text. It can be anything. It can be image. It can just be it can just be like a shape. Yes, it can be a shape, and whatever thing that you can put there. So let's say we want to add extra content to this. So we'll come to this part here and we'll select the H1, then two double colon, then we'll say before. So that means before the content of HTML of the H1. So I say I want to add a text. So for you to be able to add a text, whenever you are using before pseudo element or after pseudo element, you need this content property. Is very important. So this content property is where you are going to specify. So you are going to specify or put the extra content that you want to add before or after the content of the element. So the content can be anything. It can be a text, it can be an image, you can add an image to the content, you can add a text to the content, you can add anything. And sometimes you don't even have to add anything at all, you just make it an empty string. So in this case, if you do it like this, I'm going to show you two cases actually. So in this first one, I'm going to do something like I'm going to write okay, web development, and I'm going to write let me just write let us code. So let us code, and I save. Now look at what we have. Can you see let us code there? Let us code, it has been added there. So in this case, I can just do something like maybe padding. See padding right now. If I'm correct, padding right, and do 10 pixel. So if I save, I see it. Let us code. So that is that, and we can make it. You can change the color, change the background color, and all that. So let us look at the after. Let us see the after, and I'm going to do something different. So for the after, I want the content to be empty, to be an empty string. So I have to do something like this. So I don't want to add anything there. I just want a width of, let's say, 40 pixel, and the height, let's say 40 pixel, and a background color of, let's say, this. Let us see. It's not there. Okay, the reason why, okay, let me add the content so you see what I'm talking about. Let's say card. If you add card, for instance, you can see card is there. Card is there. So I've been able to add something to it. So, but I just there are cases whereby I don't have to add anything at all. I don't have to add anything to the content. So what I'm just going to do is, for me to be able to do that, I'm going to also introduce you to another CSS property that is called positioning, what we can use to, do some things fancy and beautiful with it. So let's proceed. So let me just leave it like this, and let me just do a padding, or probably a margin left. Is it margin? Yeah, margin left. Let me just do 10 pixel. If I save, yeah, let me see now. So all this now you would think that I had it. You would think that all these things came from the H1. You will not know that with the pseudo element, I was able to add content before the H1 element and after the H1 element. So I think we are pretty much done with the pseudo class and the pseudo element, and let us proceed into, okay, before then, let me just write all of this. So these are all the things that we have, and I think there are more. So now the next one I'm going to look at is positioning, and it is very important. Positioning. After positioning, we are going to look at transform. Just pick like two properties for transform, and we'll also look at transition. Then we'll be able to build a very simple project with it. So I hope you'll be able to finish that in time. All right, let's look at positioning. What exactly is positioning? Now, positioning is a way to specify the location of an element anywhere on your page. We learned about how we can use margin to shift an element around its adjacent element. But in this case of positioning, we can move an element in any location that we want on our page. We can decide to put it on the top left corner, on the bottom right corner, on the bottom left corner, on the top right corner, at the center. We can decide to put it at any angle or position that we desire on our page. So in this section, we are going to learn what exactly is relative positioning, absolute positioning, and containing blocks. And we're also going to look at what fixed position. We're also going to look at fixed what position. So types of position, we have the static, the relative, the absolute, and the fixed. So the default is what the static, and this applies to all elements and it does not inherit. So we also have specifying position, meaning that once you have established the positioning method, let's say once you have set the value of the position to the element that you want to change its location, then you now need a combination of up to 4 offset properties like top, right, bottom, left. So this is like the direction, this is like the navigation. So after you have set an element, you have set the position property or the value of the position property of an element, then you now need this keyword here to be able to move the element in anywhere that you want. So this value, top, right, bottom, left, all these values, these directions here, they receive what? Length as value, percentage as value, and auto. So this only applies to positioned element whose position has been set and it does not what? Inherit. So now here we want to look at what? Relative positioning, absolute positioning, and fixed positioning. So what exactly is what? Relative what? Positioning. So before I explain that, let me just come here and I'm going to create a new where is that now? I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it position.html. Save. And here, let me just remove this now. So here, as usual, the boilerplate, CSS positioning. So back to so relative positioning moves elements box relative to its original position in the flow. So the distinctive or unique behavior of relative positioning is that the space the element would have occupied in the normal flow is preserved as empty space. So let me show you what exactly it means in order for you to be able to understand its definition. So here I'm going to have let's say a paragraph that has a lorem text of 30, right? And maybe I want to select one of, or let me select this part. I want to select this portion of. So I'm going to cut it. I want to select it. I want to put it into a separate element. I'm going to put it inside a span and I'm going to paste it there. So now you have a span inside of paragraph. So this particular portion, of course, you understand, I explained to you the meaning of span, that span is an inline container and what you can use span to do. So please go and watch the video if you have forgotten. So span, we have span inside of this paragraph. So we are using span to be able to get a portion. We want to be able to style this portion separately or differently from every other, from the document or from its content. So we have to put this inside of what is span. So now here in this case, I'm going to select the paragraph and I'm going to give it a width of let's say 400 now. Oh, sorry, I had to put this inside of the style tag. I usually forget this thing sometimes. So a width of 400 pixel and a height of let's say 400 pixel too, or let's just leave it like this, and let's view this. So I'm going to zoom this so that you can see what I'm talking about. So now in this case, I'm going to style, okay, before that, let me style the border of the paragraph, 2 pixel solid, and where is that hash symbol? Copy this, make it okay. I'm gonna copy it and paste it here. Paste it here. So in this case, let's say background color. I'm going to paste this here, but I want to. Okay, let's see what we have first. Okay, this is what we have. Okay, I think I'm good with the background color. Let me just remove the border. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the span, let me give you the background color of of this hexadecimal color code. Let me see, and let me give you the color. That means the text, the color of the text. Now I want to give you white. So this is what we have now. Can you see the position of this span in this element here, in this normal flow? You can see the position where it is seated, the position of this element. So now in the case of relative position, it says that it moves an element box relative to its original position. So what we are doing, that we want to move this in relation to its original position. So the relationship, it is in relation to its own original position, not to the position of a parent container or to the viewport. So it is to its own container. So we are moving it with respect to its original position. So now in this case, when we want to, so in this case now, the distinctive behavior of a relative positioning is that the space the element would have occupied in the normal flow will be preserved by an empty space. So by the time I move this, for instance, by the time I move this element away from its original flow, from its position in the normal flow, normally you are expecting the walls to collapse. You're expecting the walls to collapse so that the other walls can take up the space that this one has forfeited. But the thing is, for relative positioning, it's going to remain there. The space that this one would have occupied in normal flow is going to remain there. So that is for relative positioning. So now, for me to be able to move this span anywhere in this paragraph container, I have to set it to position relative. So after the position relative, then I now need the offset, the direction. So I'll say top. I want top. So the top, like I said, can receive a value, a length like pixel, rem, and can receive percentage. So I will give it let's say 20 pixel from the top, and left now I will say 20 pixel from the left. So let us see what we have. Can you see? Let us bring it down a bit. Let's say 25 pixel, and here let me make it 30. So we are good to go. Can you see? So now the flow, the position of this element is still preserved as empty space. But now we have moved this the portion of this text. We have moved this portion, this text here. We have moved it. So the movement is in relation to its original position, not in relation to any other, to the paragraph. It's in relation to the relative to the normal position. So that is what for relative. So we usually use relative together with absolute. So I'm just showing this as an example. So that's that. So now let us look at absolute positioning. Absolute positioning. What exactly is absolute positioning? Absolute positioned elements are removed from the document flow entirely and positioned with respect to the viewport or a containing element. The space they would have occupied is closed up. So that is the difference between absolute and relative. For relative, once you move a portion of an element, a portion of a text from an element, the space that portion would have occupied will be preserved as an empty space. So, but for absolute, it's not going to be preserved. It's going to be what? Closed up. It's going to be what? Closed up. So now for absolute positioning has to be what? Positioned with respect to the viewport or with respect to the containing element. So it has to be relative. So position element has to be relative to two things. It either has to be relative to its parent element, or it has to be relative to what? To the viewport. And the viewport is what we have here. The viewport is this entire page that you have here. All of these things here. That's the viewport. So now, please remember this. Absolute positioned element is relative to two things. It's either relative to the parent element, or it is either relative to or to the viewport. So in this case now, if I comment this one now, maybe I copy it and I comment this and I duplicate it here, just watch. I paste. Let's say for example, I want to move this maybe 5% from the top and auto. Right, so just hold on. Let me comment this. Just hold on, see what we have. Can you see we have moved it now? So then I want to change this to absolute. So apparently, when an element position is set to absolute, then you have to check out for two things. That element position that you set to absolute, what is it related to? Is it relative, or is it relative to the parent of that element, or you want it to be relative to the viewport? But if you want it to be relative to the viewport, if you want it to be relative to the parent element, then you have to select the parent element and set the position of the parent element to relative. So it means that the absolute position element will be relative to the parent element. But if you don't set the parent element to position relative, by default, it's going to be relative to the viewport. And look at what we have here. Can you see? Normally, it's supposed to be relative to this paragraph, because the paragraph is serving as its containing element, or its containing block, or its parent element. But because we did not set the paragraph, which is the parent element, to position relative, so this span is now by default relative to the word viewport. So can you see that from the top we move it 25 pixels, and that is what we have here. From the top we move it 25 pixels from the top, then 30 pixels from the left. So now the space that this portion will have occupied has now been closed up. So that is one major difference between relative and absolute position. But if you want this to be relative to this parent element, what you are going to do is you have to set the parent element to position relative. So let's say, for example, if this paragraph, for instance, now, if this span is inside of paragraph, and paragraph is inside of a div, and div is inside of something else, and you want this span to be relative to that something else, you can make that something else a position relative. So this one now will be relative to that. But in this case now, we are making span now to be relative to paragraph, which is the parent element, because we have set the parent element to position relative. So now can you see the difference now? Because if you don't set the parent element to be position relative, by default, the absolute position element is going to be relative to to the viewport. So now it's no longer relative to the viewport. Now it is relative to to the parent element, because we set the parent element position to relative. Can you now see it now? Fantastic. So with this, we can be able to move element anywhere in in our viewport or in a containing element. So this is that, or this is it. So before we look at fixed positioning, I just want to show you. Let me comment this. I just want to show you something else. Let's say, for example, I want to have okay, let me do it first. Deal with box or box wrapper or box container. Let me call it container So we want a div, want 4 div actually. So for me to, so for 4 div, I just want 4 div times what? 4, and I save. And I want to give it a class of okay, let's not give it any class now. So now in this case, I want the container, or I want the div now. So I want to select all the div. Now please pay attention. There's something I want to introduce to you that you haven't learned before, or you don't know before. Now, this, how many elements do we have here? We have 4 elements inside of this container. So these 4 elements act as what? The children of this container. So this container is the parent of this what? Div. So now I want to select the container. I want to select these children here, and I want to give them a default. I want to give them the same height and the same width, but different background color. So what I'm going to do is, since I want to give them the same width and the same height, I'm going to select them. So if I want to select these ones now, how am I going to select them? Because now in this case, I'm not giving it a class. I'm not giving it a class at all. And as I'm not giving it the same class, like maybe if I want to select all of these elements, now I have to give it the same class. Let's say I have to give it maybe box, all of these elements now, box, but I don't want class. I'm tired of giving element a class name. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this dot container, because the dot container is the entry point to all of these children. So I'll say dot container, which is serving as a parent element. So I'll now say then I'll do something like this. Now this greater than sign here, what does it mean? I think I explained that in the 2 class before. This greater than sign here, it means that this is a symbol for child selector. You want to select the child of what? This container. But apparently it is not a child that we have here. We have children. So for me to select all of these children, what am I going to do? There's what we call universal selector. So we are going to do something like this. So this universal selector, it is only relative to what? This container. So what it means is, what it means is, I want to select all of the elements inside of this container. So all of the elements inside of this container. But the use case of universal selector that we are used to is when we want to select all the HTML elements. It's fine. But in this case too, we can select all the children element that is inside of a container. So just doing it like this, dot container greater than sign, then what? This universal selector symbol. So it means that I'm selecting all of the children element that is inside of the container. So now in this case, I'm going to say width of, let's say a width of 100 or 150 pixel, then the height of 150 pixel. Simple. So now I want to give them a different color. So I'll come here and say dot container. Should I give them a different color? Or no, I don't think I need a different color. So let me just give them the same color. So background color to be hot pink. To be hot pink. Then I want to give this paragraph a content. I'll give it 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to change the color. I want the color of the content to be black. Okay, I think it's going to be black by default. So let me just change the font size. Let me make it 30 pixel or probably 40 pixel. So if we save this and let's view this, okay, I think I have it here. So can you see it now? Very interesting. So I think let me change it from 150 to 100 to 100. Let's save. So can you see? Beautiful. So I'm just going to make this text align to the center. Text align to the center, so we can have the good. So what again? Let me give it a border of 2 pixel solid and hot pink. So I'm going to make this up. I'm going to give it a different variations. Yes, good. So what again? What do I have to do again? So can you see it? Good. I want to do something. So I will make this box sizing. I want to make this box sizing border box. I already explained this yesterday. So let's see. Can you see? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So let me give the container probably. I want to give the container a width of let's say a width of 500 pixel, then the height of or let's say 500 pixel too, and the background color of the symbol, and I want the margin, I want to center it left and right. By the time we look at some other properties, you will see how we can better center an element. So can you see it now? That's been centered. That'll be centered. Supposed to be height. Let's make this height 400. Good. So let me just give this 2%. Alright, good. So here we go. Here's what we have. Let me reduce this. Good. Beautiful. So this is what we have. And what are we going to do? Now, I want to, with this now, I want to be able to form a cross with these 4 elements. I want one element to be here, the other to be here, and the other to be here, and the other to be here. So I want to be able to form a cross such a way that each of these elements, the vertex of this element will be touching each other. When I mean vertex, the edges of each of these elements is going to be touching each other. So how am I going to do that? So what I'm going to do first and foremost is to make sure that all of these elements are positioned, are absolutely positioned really in, English. All right, I'm going to make sure that all of these elements are positioned in relation to the containing element, which is this container here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set the container to what? Position what? Relative. Then for all the children elements, I'm going to set all the children elements to position what? Absolute. To position absolute. So instead of selecting the children one after the other and give them position absolute, so this selector covers that. So once we save, can you see? You will not see any element again. And why is it so? It is because all of these elements that you have here, initially, before we set the position to absolute, all of these elements that we have here, they are in block state. So once we set the position absolute, you are not going to see all of them. It's not that it has disappeared. It is hiding. It is hiding. So the last element is going to be the one to show, not the first element. So the last element in this container is going to be the one that we will show. And if I want to, for me to shock you and to ensure that all the other elements that we have there before, they are not gone, I'm going to use a Z index. There's what they call Z index. It's a CSS property that allows one element to be closer than the other element, or to show than the other element, like it's an overlap. So if you want 1 now to show instead of 4, you are going to use a Z index, because apparently the other elements are behind 4, and I want 1 to show, or I want 2 to show. So for me to make 2 show, I'm going to use a Z index property that makes an element to be closer to you than the other element. So I'm going to use a Z index, and this Z index does not receive a unit as measurement. It just receives a value. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to select, so I will say div, so I'll say dot container, actually dot container, then div. So I want to select an individual div now, so I'll say nth child. So I want to select 1. So of course I'm selecting the first child in this container. So I'll say Z index now. So Z index takes a negative value and a positive value. So for the positive value, it means that once the value of a Z index is set to an element and the value is positive, it means that that element is going to be very close than every other element. So the one with the highest positive value is the one that's going to be closer to you, to the user, going to be closer to the screen than every other element. So if I do 1, for instance, now watch what we have. Can you see 1 now? So that is that. So more on that later. So let me just duplicate this 3 more times. Let me remove the Z index for this one, remove the Z index for this one, remove the Z index for this one. So I'm going to set this to 2, 3, and 4. So now look at what we have. So what I'm going to do is this. I want to put 1 to be here, to be at this part here. Let me make the container 400, size of 400. So I'm going to bring it at the center. So that make it 400. Let me bring it back to 500. So I want to bring this at a particular position here, number 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that direction. So let me remove the Z index. I don't need it anymore. So I'm going to use the direction I told you about. So I'll say, okay, from the top, or let me maintain top, because I want the top to be 0, meaning that I want the top to still remain where it is. This top here to still remain where it is, but I want to move it from the left side to this side here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say left. I want it to be like 300 pixels away from the left. Now look at what we have. No, let's make it 200 pixels. 200 pixels away from the left. Can you see what we have? Because the size of this box is already 100 pixels. It's what? Already 100 pixels. So 100 pixel width. So I'm moving it 200 from the left. So this way is going to be. Then I want to select the second. So for the second, I want to push the second down here. So the vertex of the second is going to be touching here. So how am I going to do that? Mind you, the height of each of the box is 100. So this is the height. So if I'm going to push the second one down to this part, so I'm going to push it 100 pixels from the top. So I'll come here. That's for the second element. I will say top 100 pixels from the top. Now look at what we have. Can you see? Then I'm going to move it to this point here. So now we have like the difference between this one and this one here is like 100 pixels. 100 pixels. So I'm going to move it 100 pixels to the left, from the left. So I'll say 100 pixels from the left. So can you see? Now can you see that the vertex, they are what? Touching each other. The vertex are touching each other. Why for number 3? For number 3, I'm going to push number 3 from the left. I'm going to push it 300 pixels from the left. So let us see what we have. Can you see 300 pixels from the left? While from the top, I'm going to do I think it should be 100 pixels. Now can you see? So we are forming the cross little by little. While for this 40, I'm going to push it 200 pixels from the top. So top is it okay? 300 pixels. Let's see what we have. Can you see? No. I mean 200 pixels. 200 pixels. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it 200 pixels. So this one here is 100 pixels, and the next one is 100 pixels. You'll be wondering, am I getting the accurate pixel? It is because of I'm using the size of the box itself, because it is 100 by 100. That is what I'm using to move them one after the other. So I'm going to move this 200 pixels from the left. So left 200 pixels. Let's see. Can you see it now? Voila. So this is what we have so far. This is what we have so far. In fact, I can now remove the height of the container. I don't think I need the height anymore. If I save, okay, I'm supposed to add the height. Okay, let me add the height. Or let me just make the height to fit the content. Yes, let me make the height to fit the content. Still not it. Okay. Let's give it 400 pixels then. Okay, let's give 400. Okay, I think it's better. It's better. Let's make it 300. Alright, good. So, and the width, let's make it 400. Alright, let me bring it back. Alright, good. So this is what we have so far. Can you see? Beautiful. You can see how the vertices are touching each other. So you can only set directions to all of these elements if the elements are positioned, are absolutely positioned. So look at it as a position. So it is very simple, very simple, very simple. So that is that. So let us look at fix. What exactly is fixed? Fixed position is used to position an element in one position in the viewport. I repeat, fixed is used to position an element in one position in the viewport. Even when the browser scrolls, fixed elements are removed from the document flow and positioned relative to the viewport rather than other elements in the document. So fixed position is relative to the viewport, not to any containing element. It is only relative to the viewport. So whatever position you want to put, have you visited the website, for example, whereby the social icons, let's say the WhatsApp icons, doesn't move from the page. Wherever it has been positioned, it's positioned. So you can still scroll down to other sections of the website, scroll the page, but that icon will still remain where it is. So we use fixed position to do that. Fixed what position to do that. So so I think let's see. I'm going to let me comment these two as well. Let me comment this and all right. So let me do something. Let me do a fixed element. Let me do something like a div. Let me do something like a div. Now say fixed. So I can come here. Let me call this a class of fixed. Just watch. So I'm going to say dot fixed. I want you to have a width of 100 pixel, or let's make it just 100 pixel, height of 100 pixel, and I want you to have a background color of this, and I want the border radius to be complete. I want to have it to be completely 0, and you see I want it to be complete is 0. I say 0 circle, so I'm just going to see border radius 50% actually. If I do this, can you see? And I want the content to be okay. I don't think I need the content. Let me just remove the content. Let me set this to be 50. Then the other one to be 50. So we save. Voila. So this is what we have. So I'm going to set this to be positioned, then fixed. So I'm going to move it to the top should be like 30 pixel. Then the right, I want the right to be 0. Now look at what we have. Can be moved to this side, but we can't screw. The reason why we can't screw is because, let me give the body, let me come here and give the body a background color of let's say this. So can you see? But we can't, it's not scrolling because we have to set the height. So let me increase the height. I'm just using this as a practical, because if I want to make this scroll, I have to have content that is bigger than the height of this viewport, so that we can have this, so that we can have the vertical horizontal, the vertical scroll bar. But since we don't have any content, we can still do something with it. We can still create like a min height, or let's say a minimum height. Let's give it like 300 view age. Let's save. Yeah, so you can see that we have this scroll bar. So can you see, as I'm scrolling, there's nothing there. I'm scrolling, nothing. In fact, if I resuscitate all of these elements that I have here, I resuscitate this and also this, if I have it here. So look at, can you see, these are all the contents. So if I scroll, the thing is still there, even though all those other elements are scrolling off the viewport. You can still see this here. So that is what fixed positioning. And mostly you can use this for, maybe if you don't want a particular section of your website to go off as it is being scrolled, you can do that. You can use that. It can be for a site or for table content and all that. Let's say for example this one now, if I click on this now, so other ones can be scrolling, but this one is still remaining, is still there. Other ones can be scrolling, but this one is still what, there. So that is that. So I think we are done with what positioning. So please watch the video for more understanding. So what again, we are done. So the next thing I also want to teach you is transition. Before we look at this, I want to teach you transition before we look at this. So I'm trying to be very fast so that we can be able to, so that we don't have to spend like 3 hours for this tutorial, and I still have to meet up to today's target. So transition. So I'm even here to teach you transform. Wow, a lot. So let me first of all teach you transition. Maybe probably, okay, let's see. Let me teach you transition. Let's say for example, what is transition? Transition. All right, so this is transition. So for example, or you know what, we are going to look at this in details on Monday, but I just want us to do this website first. I want us to do this with all the knowledge that we have gathered so far, I want us to be able to do this first. If this is going to be the only project that we're going to do, then probably when we can also do this too, or maybe when we introduce Flex, then we can be able to do all of these together. So there are a lot of projects that we can build. Don't worry, we're going to build a fully fledged website, and there's this other website too we are going to build too. This one here, we are going to build this website. Do you like this website? Very, very, very interesting. So we are going to build this website. So this will kind of look like the website that we are going to build to end this CSS course. So we are going to build this website. So this is just the header section of the website. So there are still other sections. So don't worry, we are going to look at that and build this for this section, for this CSS class. Then I'm going to give you a project to do. So that's that. Let's move on. So, but first of all, let's do this. Let's do this one. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the CSS file. I'm going to create a file, and I'm going to call it project.html. So we save. So I don't think I need this. I don't need this. So I'm going to come here. So I'll call this animated toggle switch. So in this case, I'm going to have my input with a type of check, with the type of checkbox. I don't need ID for this one. Type of checkbox, and I'm going to say I'm going to give it a class of checkbox. So that's that. So I'm going to do an embedded star. I'm going to do an embedded star. So if you view this on your browser, so let us see what we have. Can you see it? This is what we have. Let me zoom it a bit. Can you see this is what we have? So if I click on it, it's checking, it's checking, it's checking, it's checking, it's checking, it's checking, it's checking. So all right. So now this check itself is an attribute. This check itself is an attribute. It's a pseudo class element. You know, I showed you something like check here. So let's say, let me show you something. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's say, for instance, once I check that checkbox, if I check it, so what I'm going to do is, for me to be able to, I will select the input field, or let me just say, since I already have a class for it, I'll say dot checkbox. Already have a class for this input field, so checkbox, and I'll do checked. So this check now is a pseudo class selector. So I want the background color to be where are my colors now? I want the background color to be this color. Paste it. So now watch. Once I click on it, what's the problem? Is supposed to change now. Dot checkbox, then checked. Okay, all right. Let's see. Okay, I understand why. Coming so done. All right, so okay, let's leave that. We're going to look at that. Let's leave that. Let's continue from what I wanted to show you something before, but it didn't work out. So, but now this is what we have by default. This is what we have by default. So just observe, this is what we have by default. This is a checkbox from the HTML form input. This is a checkbox. So notice that this HTML element already has a a predefined or native styling or user interface. And this styling or user interface, it is consistent across different browsers and devices. Whether you are using Firefox, you are using Chrome, you are using Safari, you are using Microsoft Edge or something, I don't know. So all this it has a consistent look and a feel across different browsers and devices. And this is actually called appearance. So we can decide to change the appearance of this checkbox. We can decide to change the appearance of this checkbox. Let us change the appearance. We want to change the appearance of this checkbox. So in this case now, what I'm going to do is this. If I change the appearance, and the appearance usually have a value, so I'm going to select checkbox. Now I want to change the appearance. So the appearance is talking about the UI, the styling of this checkbox, the appearance, and every form element usually have a default appearance. So if we want to set our own default appearance, we have to set the default appearance of that form element to what? None. So now I'm going to say appearance. So we want the appearance to be none. We save. If you see it, you won't see anything here again at all. There's nothing here at all. So, but sometimes you can see it like this, appearance, and you can see something like WebKit. You can see something like a WebKit, then see WebKit coming. See something like yes, WebKit, then appearance. Set it to none. So now this WebKit appearance, this WebKit is a library. It's a library. It's a library because not all browser actually supports the appearance property. Not all browser actually supports the appearance property. So, and its behavior may varies depending on the browser and the operating system. So do you get it now? So in order for us to make sure that every browser can actually support this appearance, and not just this appearance property, there are other properties too like that too. So we have to use the WebKit of Chrome. See WebKit, this WebKit is a library for Chrome. So see WebKit appearance none. So, and mind you, you don't just set this only for Chrome, because some of your users might use Chrome, and some of your users might use Mozilla Firefox. So you can say MOZ, that's Mozilla Firefox, then appearance. Can you see appearance? Then you set it to what? None. Appearance, you set it to none. So that's that. And there are other ones too. I think that should be I think this one should be for none too, and there's many like that. So let's just skip this WebKit. WebKit, I'm using 2 hyphen appearance, then none. So now can you see? So in case that they didn't support, so in case any of the browser didn't support this, is going to support any of this library. So now, aside from that, we are going to set the width. We are going to set the width now. We want to style our own appearance differently from the default appearance. So we want the width of 60 pixel, then the height of 30 pixel, a height of 30 pixels, then a background color, let's say background color of, where is that my color? Yes, background color of that. So let's say, look at what we have. Can you see it? This is what we have. So I'm going to do a border radius of, let's say 50 pixel. Let's see what we have. It's too big. Let me make this 20 pixel. Make this 50 pixel. Is it because I zoomed it? That's why it's maybe because I zoomed it. Because I zoomed it. So let me make it 60 and 30. 60 and 30. Alright, good. Let me make it 20. Sorry, I'm being indecisive here. I think let me make it. Yes. So fantastic. So let me zoom it so I can be able to see it. Yes, so this is what we have here. So now, can you see nothing is happening, nothing is happening. So now, what are we going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, now we've been able to set our own appearance. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to set, when I hover on this, for instance, when I hover on this, I want to have this finger, this pointer, that finger that has this pointer instead of this arrow symbol there. I want to have pointer. So I'm going to do something like cursor. I want the cursor to be pointer. So I say cursor pointer. Now watch. You can see it's now what pointing. That something is there. So the next thing I want to do is we want to be able to now create an after property for this, or a before property. So we want to add another element, which is checkbox before. Checkbox before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something like dot checkbox before. So you can either use before or after. So checkbox before. So I want the content to be what? Empty. So you can see all these things that we are learned. So now the reason I want to have checkbox before is because I want to have this element here. This one here. This small circular one here. That's before. So I want to add it there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to add it before. Then I want a width. Let's say a width of 30 pixel and a height of 30 pixel. Save. Then a background color of white. Then background color of white. Then what again? Then a border radius of 50%. So if we save this, now we won't see anything here. Why is it so? Why? The reason is because we have to make the before element to be relative to something. So we have to set the before element to be what? Position absolute. And we want it to be relative to its parent element, which is this. So we have to set this to be what? Position what? Relative. Then we'll set this one to position absolute. Now let's see. You're going to see it now. Can you see? This is what we have. Beautiful. Can you see? Beautiful. So this is what we have now. This is what we have. Can you see it now? Beautiful. So now, the next thing I want us to look at is that once we click on it, for example, when we click on this, once we click on this, I want to be able to, once we click on this, I want to be able to move this to this other side. So how can we do it? So now we are going to select the check, because now we are going to use the checked pseudo selector for the checkbox input. So I'm going to say dot checkbox, then pseudo class checked. You get it now? Then before. So it means that this is what it means here. Apparently, this is how it is by default, but once I click on it, it means that it has been checked. Once I click on it, it means that it has been checked. So now I want this before element that I've created. Once I want this before element that I've created to move to this side the moment I click on it. So in order for me to be able to check whether that element has been clicked, so mean checked. So I'll say checkbox, that is the class name for the input. Then the selector, the pseudo selector checked. Then I want okay, now I want, just watch now. You see what I'm talking about. Let's say I want the background color to be white for checked, that if it is checked, now watch, can you see it is white? It is what? White. So but me, I don't want it to be white. I want a different color. I'm going to make it this. Copy. I'll bring it here. So I'm just going to do something like this. So if I click on this, can you see? Can you see this? I don't think I like this color. Let me use color code. Hold on, please. Oh, my bad. Okay, I think I have one here. Yes. Let me copy this. Paste it here. So if I save, watch. Can you see? So it means that once I click on it, it means that this checkbox has been checked. Mind you, we've changed the appearance. Now this is the appearance that we have created. So once I click on it, it means that this checkbox has been checked. So once it has checked, it is a state. It is like a state. So I want to listen for that state. So now I already have a CSS pseudo class that is called checked, that I can do something, or I can style the checkbox differently once it is being checked, just like the way we did for linked and for other things too. So now if I click on it, it means that it has been checked. So what I want to do is what I want to change the background color to this. So what will I do for the after now? This after, it means that once it has been checked, I want this after now to move to this other side. So how are we going to do it? Then I will come here, I will say dot checkbox, then checked. So once it is checked, I want the app before element that I created, I want it to now move left. I want it to move I want it to move 60 pixels to the left. Let us see what we have. Can you see it? I'm coming. So I'm going to give it a color. Is it 60 pixel or 30 pixel? Sorry, 30 pixel, because the size of this before is already 30 pixel, and the width that we set to the input is what? Is 60. So if we want to move it to the last end, we have to subtract 60 from 30 from 60 so that we can have that. So can you see? Can you see? Can you see what I'm seeing here? Can you see what I'm seeing here? Beautiful. So, but the thing is, we actually want a smooth transition. We want a smooth transition to occur between them. We want a smooth transition to occur. So we are just going to do transition. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you transition later, but I'm just going to do transition. I want the left side to transition 0.4 seconds smoothly. Now watch. What's this? I'm not getting what I want. Okay, I think it's supposed to be let's see actually. Hold on. What's the problem? Let me remove this. Cut it. So this is the before. This is where it's supposed to be. What's wrong with this? Come in. What's supposed to be here? Okay, I think it's supposed to be here. Hold on, I think I've done it. I did my here before, so so what's the problem? So hold on, I'm coming. Paste here. Paste here. So let's see. Please hold on. What could be the problem? Is left. It's changing, but there's supposed to be a smooth transition before them, and I don't know why it's giving me that. Coming to the right. Hold on, let me see. Transform. Translate. Oh, my bad. I was moving it left 30 pixel. I think so. Well, I'm supposed to set this to left is 0. So let's see if beautiful. My bad. So can you see it? So because now I set this left to 30 pixel, but here I'm supposed to set it, that's the before. I'm supposed to set it to, so let me just come here and cut it and do it here. So I have to set the, so I set it before to position absolute. So I'm supposed to, okay, let me cut it, let me do it for uniformity sake. So I'm supposed to set the direction. So I want the left to be what is 0. That means it's not going anywhere. So it's going to just be here. Then like this, can you see? Beautiful. So if I reduce this now, for example, I reduce it to my 100. Now look at what we have. Beautiful. And if you feel that before element is too big, we can reduce it. We can say transform scale. We can do 0.8. So let's see what we have. 0.8 or 0.6. Can you see? Can make it very small like this, depending on what you want. So can you see it now? So I think that's that. So we're able to change the default appearance to none. Then we now create our own appearance by setting the width to 60 pixel, height to 30 pixel, background color, then the border radius, then the cursor pointer, then every other thing. So position relative. So we want the before element I want to create in this checkbox. We want the before element to be relative to the parent element. So we have to set the position to be what absolute for the before. We set the width, we set everything. We don't have to give it the content, we don't need it. So this is what we have. So now for the checkbox, so that means when we check it, we want the background color to change. And when we check it, we want the before element to also what move to the left, and this is what it means here. So please watch the video over and over again for complete understanding. So this is what we have here. So by Monday we'll be able to do our other project. So until then, do have a lovely day.